the past is not what we think it is, right? And there was a guy, Schrodinger, again, right, who actually made an obscure speech in the 1940s, I think, where he said, not only are we choosing which slit, the double slit experiment goes through now, let's say Schrodinger's cat is alive or dead, but we're choosing from one of several simultaneous histories when we make that observation, right? So that means there's a whole history where the cat came in from the front yard versus the backyard, and before that, the cat belonged to somebody else, there's a whole history that goes with the choices that are made. And so this is not a very well understood aspect of the weirdness of quantum mechanics. But I think it gets to this idea that maybe there's multiple possible pasts and that we choose those as we run. Now, if we think of this as a simulated reality, then it becomes a little more understandable, right? So I said the main argument people have on the multiverse idea is that, or physicists have, right? So some physicists like the Copenhagen interpretation, it's called. Niels Bohr came up with it in Copenhagen, and he and his other folks, that there's a probability wave and it collapses into one. We don't know how it works. It just kind of collapses. Some physicists like this multiverse idea because they're like, we know how the mathematics work, but the problem is it ends up in all these physical universes. Now, I've never seen a planet clone itself, right? Let alone an entire universe, a physical universe. Right, cloning may happen, but it happens at a very small level, and then it grows. Right, even if you clone a sheep or something, you still have to grow the sheep, or you clone a tree. But if it's a simulated reality, then both of these things actually make more sense, because on the one hand, you only render that which is seen as a player. On the other hand, what we're calling multiple, universes are just different runs of the simulation. And so in computer science, we're always dealing with limitations. So we don't just run an infinite number of anything, because you can't with computer resources. But if you're playing a game and the AI is trying to figure out what's going to happen, what does it do? It will try this scenario, it'll try that scenario, it'll try that scenario, and it'll pick the best scenario, right? Mm-hmm. And so in that case, you cut off the other timelines, and you go there forward, and from there you can simulate different things and figure out which one you might want to do. So you've got a mechanism for the multiverse as information, but you don't have to have an infinite number of physical universes per se, because when we say this is a universe, all that it means is that currently we're running this program right now. Yes. We could have run another program for a little while, and then we can shut that down and we can run this program. Right? We could even run them on parallel, like today's processor, right? Today's laptops have parallel processors, right? Mm-hmm. So you can run, a whole bunch of things in parallel. And that's what gets to the idea of a quantum computer. What the heck is that quantum computer doing that it can explore all the 18 quintillion possibilities and come back to us within a few seconds? Well, what does a few seconds mean, right? Right. A few seconds in our reality, if the program stops, if people are watching this on YouTube, right, they have a window, but they might have Microsoft Word running, they might have, a spreadsheet, they might have Instagram in another window. What's happening is this process is in the foreground while they're watching YouTube, and then all these other processes are in the background, right? And so when a process runs, it just knows I'm going to the next step, I'm going to the next step. It doesn't necessarily know how many seconds have passed. So what the CPU does is it stops executing this window and it runs the background programs for a little while. And then it comes back and it runs this one for a while. So technically speaking, they're not really parallel, but you don't know it because it just appears like they're all running at the same time, right? But if you're inside one program, that program could have been paused and you could have been running, the computer could run any number of programs or processes on the side, and then it starts running you again and you think no time has passed or nothing has passed.
I could imagine how you would experience paralysis by analysis, dealing with all these different possibilities and scenarios constantly, just playing them all out in your head.
Yeah.
You kind of get stuck.
If you're trying to do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you have to limit it, right? You can't do all the scenarios. You try to figure out what is the best one. Then you make that choice in the game,
Oy.
right? And then you start moving forward from that.